Yes, the text-to-speech is returning, but only while the Route of Legends is recorded. Just bear with me, please. Anyways, today, we return to the star of the Route of Legends, number 1214. I've wanted to take you guys deeper into her story, both her real-life counterpart and the legend she has become in my film. For our first section, I shall cover her real-life story. Before World War II, the Norfolk and Western Railway sought out a new articulated design, wanting it to be faster than their current raster of Class Y articulates. Designing took place in 1935, with delivery on the class in 1936. Starting with 1200 and 1201, both were tested and proved successful. During testing, railroad officials were very impressed with their performance, as they were capable of pulling 4,800 tons at 25 miles per hour on a 0.5% grade, and 7,500 tons at 64 miles per hour on level track, beating the entirety of the Y class in speed alone. The railroad was satisfied with the class, and bought 8 more the following year, ending up at number 1209 by World War II's beginning in 1939. Number 1214 would be completed in early 1941, being produced with 25 more of the class during the war. She would overwork herself to haul coal, steel, troops, and even Sherman tanks across the system, aiding the war effort however she could. After the war, number 1214 would live a happy life operating under the Norfolk and Western Railway, until 41 of the 42As got scrapped by 1959, taking 1214 with them, and leaving the one we know in our reality, number 1218, a living piece of history. But what if 1214, along with hundreds of other steam locomotives, survived? Well, let's find out, shall we? "1214 has major story implications in the Route of Legends, as she is the main locomotive of the film. She was preserved by her past crew, who in 1959 abandoned her on unmarked side track in Northern Virginia. She wasn't found until 1974, when the Norfolk and Western were tearing up the unused and decayed track, with no need for the locomotive and not wanting to scrap her. 1214 was ultimately sold off to auction. In said auction, a local scrapyard was beat to the bid by one man named Kirby Begley. After purchasing 1214 for roughly $250,000, Kirby had her transported to his collection in Johnson City, Tennessee, where cosmetic work would begin. However, due to budget constraints, 1214's initial cosmetic restoration wouldn't be completed until 2001, with a full restoration starting not long after. However, as time went on, Kirby's health began to fail him. In his final days in 2007, he wrote his will, stating that his 4-year-old grandson, Jonah Crider, would be passed the legacy once he turns 18 years old. After Kirby's passing, the now labelled Iron Giant Historical Society, along with its equipment, were handed over to the city, protected by state troopers and local police. It wouldn't be until 2021 when Jonah was notified by what his grandfather had done in his time. Although police stopped him at first, Jonah finally laid eyes on 1214, now somewhat decayed due to time. Now seeing an opportunity to bring steam back to Appalachia for good, Jonah called upon the city officials, as well as the state of Tennessee, for their aid in finishing what his grandfather had started. Not only did both the city and state approve funding for the restoration, but donations came from across the globe, spanning 27 countries and near 32 states in the US. In a year's time, Jonah raised $5.6 million for 1214's restoration, both from state funding and donations. With this, Jonah, as well as his new steam crew for the IGHS, began work on 1214. Within 2.5 years of blood and sweat, the team and Jonah finished 1214, sounding off her whistle for the first time in nearly 60 years. With 1214 completed, Jonah honors his grandfather by engraving his name into the interior of the cab and naming the locomotive herself Old Alexios, a name that will become iconic within the next few years of 1214's new life. I'd like to thank you all for watching and being patient with me on videos. Until next time, folks.